Oh my goodness. Look at this. It actually works. Going live. What's up, folks? How you doing? It's Dr. Daniel Whitelocke here. Long time no see. Never really tried out this YouTube live thing. I'm just gonna give it sort of its first run here. Maiden voyage. I don't want to get myself too ahead of myself and saying taking it for the virgin spin, but hey, here we are. Let's hope I don't shit the bed on this one. Anyway, oops, I'm not sure if we can curse on this, so I'll try and keep that to a minimum. But thank you guys for joining me, okay? For all of those that are up and ready and have medicated themselves on this fine Friday morning. Great weather out here. Average weather. Take it back. Average weather out here in Northwest Arkansas. But yeah, guys, long time no here. I haven't made a video in a while. Last time I made a video, took a nap for a little while. And I think maybe back in late February, early March, woke up like this. Apparently this alien ship called COVID-19 landed, and everyone is now wearing masks and stuff. I don't know what that's all about. People are telling me it's a hoax, so it must be a hoax. So yeah. Just kidding, not a hoax, folks. So moving forward, bunch of cannabis news stuff to talk about. I just wanted to keep you guys updated and let you know what's going on. A whole bunch of really good, important stuff going on that I haven't touched base on, and that's really the reason for making this video. And I always welcome the input from you guys as far as things that you want to talk about regarding marijuana dosing, the endocannabinoid system, questions about new laws and regulations that might come up that I don't really like to dig into too much, because that's medical legal stuff. But those things are always pertinent because the laws and regulations are ever changing. Remember that this medical marijuana business is still new in Arkansas, where I practice, and relatively new throughout the states. This is really just 10 years going for the first medical marijuana program. So there's a lot left to be uncovered and talked about and disseminated, which is really the whole reason for me opening this up, so patients can have a little bit more interface and just getting more information that way quickly. So boom, what's new on the horizon? Big stuff, guys. Just wanted to dig into this. So apparently researchers in Canada, I believe at McGill University, let me pick this up here, they found a new THC related type molecule. It's called THCP, that binds to this THC receptor at an affinity, its strength of binding, 33 times higher than this original neutral THC molecule. And this is really important because this can outline and answer a whole lot of question regarding why some people react to certain strains that might have a similar THC percentage. You have two strains, both with 15% THC, yet someone reacts to one of them with a much stronger effect, and that could be accounted for by this delta-9 THCP molecule that has been recently discovered by, let me control it, not fail you guys here. But yeah, this new molecule, I believe it's at University of McGill in Canada, in Quebec. Okay, if I'm incorrect with this, I will update you guys and let you know. But that's really where it lands right now, and it explains a lot of the variability in the effects of this THC. Let me find this research group here. So I do stand corrected. This is in Florence, Italy. I'll get back to you guys on that one and make sure and give you a solid on the research group that has that. But yeah, again, guys, hugely important. this THCP molecule that you're probably going to find. You're probably going to find these breeders selecting for this particular molecule to really get more bang for the buck and squeeze more THC type effect out of these plants, which is interesting because, you know, as I talk about stuff more and more and more, heading towards that direction of going THC heavy is really not what I consider to be the most balanced approach to using medicinal cannabis. Quite frankly, I think that's the caveman approach to doing it. With all due respect to this group, you know, they've done some really good work and isolated this molecule. I do want to say though, folks, in terms of dosing, if we're talking about medicinal cannabis versus recreational cannabis, it's super important to look at the balancing of the cannabinoids, okay, to create that ideal entourage effect. And I know that the idea of entourage effect gets brought up a whole lot, and a lot of people have differing ideas of what exactly that means. And if I can put it into a more usable interface, I think it can guide people's decisions in terms of their selection of strain and how they dose. I think it'll guide people a little bit better. So, you know, if we're talking about the entourage effect and how to balance the THC and the accessory cannabinoids, the CBD, the cannabidiol, which is a non-psychoactive component, as well as the cannabigerol, okay, the CBG, which you guys might have heard about. Getting those things balanced so they have a more natural physiologic effect versus only going THC heavy, okay? The reason why having this balanced effect is important is because, you know, our bodies weren't created to just get this quick, heavy moonshine shot of THC concentrated heavy dose, all right? Which you'll find with these concentrates and dabs and those kind of things that are just strictly geared towards a higher percentage THC dose. And the fact of the matter is, natural cannabis, these land races that, when I say land races, I'm talking about these cultivars that grow naturally in the wild, that are dioecious, where you have the male and the female plant, versus the sensimilia technique, which utilizes female only plants. Okay, it's a ladies only party, guys, in the marijuana plant breeding world. Okay, no sticks, no seeds, no stems, just like what Snoop Dogg said. Shout out to Snoop Dogg. Shout out to Old Dirty Bastard. I'm a big Old Dirty Bastard fan. I just wanted to bring him up randomly as we take an aside. My show, you know, I get to do the ADD talk. We'll come back to this entourage effect. Just wanted to bring up Old Dirty Bastard, my favorite, because I am sort of rocking the look. My daughter came up to me the other day, just looking at my T-shirt that had a picture of ODB on it. She looked, she's like, "Daddy, that's your daddy." I was like, "No, Old Dirty Bastard is not my daddy. I am not Old Dirty Bastard's bastard." Okay. But she seemed to think so. She saw a picture of him on my shirt looking all grubby and whatever. It was this government ID that he used to get, government cheese. Unique individual, went on his album, on his debut LP, talking about how he got burned by gonorrhea twice. Right? That takes chutzpah, folks. So yeah, shout out to azithromycin. Shout out to gonorrhea, keeping me in business. Boom. Good. There's that. Back to the entourage effect, folks, as I digress. So our bodies, our endocannabinoid system, which I always end up circling back to, I love talking about ECS. This homeostatic regulatory mechanism that we have inside our bodies, this highly evolved system that we have in our bodies, it was made to it had co-evolved, it's co-adapted to the natural cannabis plant with the ratios of cannabinoids in their native proportions. In other words, If you take a fine, this Acapulco Gold, which was a strain which was around quite some time ago when smugglers were initially moving the good marijuana strains from places like Mexico and other places and smuggling them to California, the Emerald Triangle. These land races had THC concentrations that were probably more in the we're just estimating here, but probably more in the range of maybe 7 to 9 or 10%, which is baby stuff compared to the stuff that we have today. But these strains were very remarkable in that the type of lucid and shapely and colorful effect that they evoked, it was very marked because they had this balanced proportion of the terpenes and the CBD and the other accessory cannabinoids, which number in the hundreds. Okay, a whole lot of them. When you have these things that are made in the natural way by the wind forcing pollination from the seeds and the female plants using their resin, all that resin that you get from the trichome heads, that's really just a female plant saying, hey, I want to have that catcher's mitt to catch the male pollen and increase the genetic diversity. That's how we got these great land races like Acapulco Gold, which since has gone extinct and by the wayside for a selection of other strains that go strictly on high THC, as opposed to a balanced consortium, if you will, of different accessories that come into play that create a balanced team. Okay, you can't have a team with just Michael Jordans on it. You need to have a guard, a shooting guard, small forward, power forward, center to keep it balanced. And Acapulco Gold and a host of these other strains, these land races that were around back in the day, they evoked a natural, more physiologic entourage effect that worked medicinally in the body, as opposed to a lot of this dispensary stuff. And I'm not knocking dispensary cannabis, folks. I'm totally not. What I'm saying is the consumer demand has driven it such that we've moved in a direction of high THC, and we've deprived ourselves of a whole lot of a better party because we haven't been informed well enough as to how to balance our medicine. And I aim to address a whole lot of those things so that over the course of time, as these state-run medical marijuana programs evolve, the consumer will come to demand more. And once the consumer demand pushes the industry in a certain direction, the producers, the dispensaries, the cultivators are going to follow suit, and they will fall in line and meet that consumer demand because people drive this industry with their dollars and their spending. So I want folks to get the most bang for their buck and the most medicinal use out of this stuff. So that's why I'm looking to start just some sort of dialogue and get people's questions answered and really sort of be a service to people as far as spreading knowledge and getting good information rolling. I did intend this to be a much longer video. Every guy intends to be much larger, but I wanted this to be a much longer video, but I got to get rolling and get some folks looked after and certified. What I do, folks, hi again, if you're just joining me, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Daniel Whitelocke. I'm a cannabis physician in the great natural state of Arkansas. What I do is I certify patients for their medical cannabis card. So I certify them as having a qualifying condition so that they can obtain their medical cannabis card to access dispensary grade product for treating a qualifying condition. So that's what I do on the business front of things. On the other side of things, I always like to, more importantly than that, or at least of tantamount importance, is educating patients on how to use the cannabis plant most effectively for the medicinal purpose. I can't really speak to how people use it for recreational, totally different thing. If you're going to have some fun, go have your fun, go do whatever. Totally fine by my book, because by my standards, because it's safe stuff. So if people use it recreationally, what do I care? That's not what I'm here for. That's a totally different kind of charade. Okay. In my game, I'm trying to treat people with conditions that are amenable to cannabinoid therapy. And that's not everybody. Part of working in this game is to recognize which people are going to actually benefit from it, recognizing which folks might be at risk for some of the toxic type effects. For example, if you have COPD and you're going to be using inhaled cannabis, it can worsen that COPD because you might go through a big coughing crisis if you take a big superhuman hit of some granddaddy kush or whatever, slap your mama purple, whatnot, and you go into a coughing fit. If you're a person that has to pump some Brio or albuterol or worse, if you're on oxygen, in which you should not be using inhaled products, you could be at risk. So from my standpoint, recognizing that and acting appropriately and recommending something more physiologic, maybe a sublingual preparation, that's sort of where I come in. Furthermore, for people who have certain conditions, say, for example, if you're a person who runs a bit anxious or has insomnia, that sort of thing, going for a high THC sativa type preparation might not be the best idea. It can be a bit too activating. Okay, guys. So dosing this stuff, choosing the correct type of preparation is crucial. For that same patient, that anxious type patient who is looking to just sort of get some relief before bedtime and calm the nerves down and bring that degree of neuro excitation down, it might be a bit more judicious to take a smaller dose THC, something more usable, maybe something in the 15% of an indica type strain that might be heavier in a terpene like linalool, which is found in lavender. Okay, if you take a preparation like that and you load yourself up with a good balanced 1-to-1 dose of THC to CBD, add some CBD with that, maybe along with some topical lavender on the feet or on the temples, using accessory terpenes to accentuate and potentiate the effects of the cannabinoid family. These things are really useful, folks. So you don't only have to stick to the cannabinoid family. You can use it, and you can use activators of it to assist the endocannabinoid system in doing what it does. So understanding the pharmacology of these cannabinoid medicines, it has its advantages, and that's what I look to give my patients. People that have been using these medicines for a long time doesn't mean that they've been using it properly, and we can always learn and evolve and learn how to utilize the tools that we have better. All right, get more bang for your buck. Keep your endocannabinoid system fresh and functioning and sensitive and avoiding tolerance and toxicity. Okay, guys, getting into the nitty gritty of the details of the pharmacokinetics and the pharmacodynamics of how this works. This is important. This is important in getting relief and getting actual treatment for a lot of diseases. Okay, take inflammatory bowel disease, for example. I said I was going to cut it off a couple of minutes ago, but I want to touch on this. Sulfasalazine is a medication that we use. Okay, an oral medication that we use to treat things like inflammatory bowel disease. That's Crohn's and ulcerative colitis. Okay, these things that affect the gut. Okay, recall as well that the largest population of endocannabinoid receptors, the CB2 receptors, the largest population of them outside of the central nervous system resides in our gut. Okay, and remember that these inflammatory bowel diseases, these can affect you from the rooter to the tutor. Okay, mouth to the anus. All right, endocannabinoid system goes all the way to the anus. All right, so with that being established, the action of these cannabinoids, because there's such a high concentration in the in the gut where our immune system lies, 80% of our innate immune system lies in our gut. Okay, if you consider that our endocannabinoid system, the great concentration is there, treating gut disorders is pretty straightforward. If you look at its action on, if you look at cannabinoid action on nausea as well, it works super, super well. You're talking about cancer patients, HIV patients who have intractable nausea and issues with appetite. THC does its thing. Getting back to the whole idea of inflammatory bowel disease versus sulfasalazine, researchers showed that a balanced THC CBD ratio concentration versus the sulfasalazine, which is standard of treatment, in some cases, a treatment, we found that the cannabinoid action is at least just as good. Now, that's eye-opening. You're talking about a traditional Western therapy that can effectively be maybe not replaced. It might be a little too early to say whether you can replace it completely, but at least an adjunct that's just as good as one of the therapies that we're already using, just as good. Not have to go to the pharmacy and take something that's made in a lab. That's huge, folks. That's just one example of many examples that I've come across since coming into this business and seeing that we have actual options and routes of therapy that are natural. That's mind-boggling for me. To have something that is just straight from the ground that we can use essentially as a Swiss Army knife. Now that's courtesy Martin Lee. Okay, the Swiss Army knife. Make sure and attribute that correctly to him. Attribute that to him. You know, Swiss Army knife of medicine. But yeah, this polypharmacy concept where we have a whole bunch of medicines in one plant versus single target therapy molecule, you know, with that sulfasalazine, you have one chemical in it, you know, it's monotherapy versus the cannabis plant, it's one plant, but there's a lot of the entourage is in it where there's a whole lot of different things doing a whole lot of different things. So that's important to remember. You know, I want you guys to just kind of nosh on that for a second because it's one thing doing a whole lot of things. That's why they call it the Swiss Army knife. Okay, so its utility is very broad. You know, it covers a cornucopia of things. So I like to just bring that up as a side note to people who are curious about using cannabinoid medicines and natural medicines in general. Okay, not just cannabis. I don't want to seem like I'm just, you know, weighted only to that thing. Yeah, true, 420 friendly, but I'm more knowledge friendly than 420 friendly. And at the end of the day, I practice medicine, not just cannabis medicine. So squeezing good quality of life, I'll get it by any means. I'm just aiming to get results. But anyway, I'll try and wrap this up, folks. Got to see patients, get myself a little bit more cleaned up. Thanks for joining me, guys. You can comment on the caveman look. Totally fine. It's not without reason. Maybe next time I see you guys, I'll look a little bit more first world. But for now, we'll rock it this way. Love you guys. Thank you for joining me. You guys hang in there. I know we're in strange, unprecedented times. We'll make it through. Apart from that, y'all have a great day. Have a great Friday, and rock on, Dr. Dan.